Welcome to the podcast Listen, Learn, and Love, hosted by Richard Ostler. On today's podcast, we will talk about Temple Recommend question number 7. Do you support, affiliate with, or agree with any group or individual whose teachings or practices are contrary to or oppose those accepted by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? I'd like to share some thoughts on this question from the perspective of a deeply believing and committed member. These are my thoughts only. I do not speak for the Church. Perhaps my thoughts will be helpful to both our members and those doing Temple Recommend interviews. During my YSA assignment, I asked this question hundreds of times, and it generated many good discussions. We are taught not to ask follow-up questions, but many opened up with their thoughts and concerns. I realize there is much confusion, concern in the minds of our members about this question, and a sincere concern where the line in the sand is between being temple-worthy and interacting with others not living the teachings of our church. I worry many needlessly in our church pull back from being kind and or ministering to others, even members of their own family, instead of doing exactly what their hearts require and their baptisms and covenants teach to do: mourn, comfort, and bear one another burdens, as we learn in Mosiah chapter 18, verses 8 and 9. Further, others have told me about honestly opening up about this question and having a wide range of interpretations. Some call this the bishop roulette, that has left them feeling unsettled, some with Temple Recommends and others without recommends, but everyone perhaps less likely to share how they feel in these future conversations. As I reflect on my own life, I affiliate with many individuals whose practices are contrary to those accepted by the LDS Church. For example, I go to dinner with clients who drink, attend midnight Christmas Eve Mass, visit with my younger friends working on worthiness issues, and volunteer at Encircle, an LGBTQ family and youth center in Provo. There are hundreds of daily examples of this, such as taking a sick child to a skilled doctor in a same-sex marriage, enrolling in a class from a cigar-smoking atheist professor, being a friend to someone who's been unfaithful in their marriage, volunteering at a homeless shelter where some are suffering from addictions, teaching the missionary discussions to someone with a prior felony conviction. So taken literally, I would say yes to this question. I affiliate with people individually all the time that do not live or believe in the teachings of our restored church. My guess is that taken literally, 90% of the church members would also say yes. However, I say an honest, sincere no when answering this question. Let me explain. I don't think the intent of this question from the senior leaders of our restored church is to isolate Mormons so they only associate with other Mormons. I believe the question was first written to weed out polygamists within the Mormon church. So what should we do? For me, I ask, what would Jesus do? As I look at his life, he first went to those declared unworthy or unclean by society and associated with them, dined with them, loved them, and often healed them. Think of the woman taken in adultery, visiting the pool of Bethesda, the certain woman with a blood issue who touched his garment, the Good Samaritan, Zacchaeus, the tax collector, who Jesus invited to dinner, and the Canaanite woman who the disciples tried to keep from Jesus. Jesus was criticized for this. Quote, and the Pharisees and the scribes murmured, saying, this man receiveth sinners and eateth with them. Luke 15:2, end quote. Obviously, if Jesus were here today, this question would not keep him out of his own temple. I like the principles laid out about holding a temple recommend by Elder D. Todd Christofferson of the Quorum of the 12 when asked, What about Mormons who support same-sex marriage privately among family and friends or publicly by posting entries on Facebook, marching in pride parades, or belonging to gay-friendly organizations such as Affirmation or Mormons Building Bridges? Can they do so without the threat of losing their church membership or temple privileges? Elder Christofferson responds to this question, quote, "We have individual members in our church with a wide variety of different opinions, beliefs, and positions on these issues and other issues. In our view, it really doesn't become a problem unless the person is out attacking the church and its leaders. If it's a deliberate and persistent effort of trying to get others to follow them, trying to draw others away, trying to pull people, if you will, out of the church or away from its teachings and principles. That's very different," he said, "than someone who backs a group such as Affirmation," end quote. And the source on that is a January 27, 2015 interview that Elder Oaks and Elder Christofferson gave the Salt Lake Tribune. Elder Christofferson is helping us to understand the line in the sand is if we become an activist and or pull people out of the church or away from its doctrines and teachings. Most weeks I volunteered in Circle, an LGBTQ family and youth center, primarily for LDS people, and meet with other LDS LGBTQ people in my home who reach out needing a safe person to visit with about their unique and difficult life. I also serve as an ordinance worker in the Salt Lake City Temple. I felt God called me to both of these assignments, and I believe Jesus would visit the good people at both places. I pray we can follow his example and reach out and serve the most marginalized by society, the very people Jesus would be serving if he were on the earth today. For me, it's part of the new ministering program that the church has rolled out in April of 2018 conference. Also for me, it's what my heart is telling me to do and what is required by my Mormon and baptism covenants. Instead of being concerned this type of service could disqualify us from temple attendance, as we all learn to reach out, support, and love all of Heavenly Father's children. Thank you for joining us.